A very good morning to you all. It's the FIA, the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour, and here we are. Streets of Villarreal. The lanes are narrow. The concrete walls are high. There is no margin for error at all, even around this very demanding circuit. All right, Santi Urrutia comes into this weekend. He is leading the standings ahead of Mikel Ascona. I would like to come and have a chat to Fred Varlin because, my friends, for the first time ever in the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour, we have not one Joker lap, but two. So that will make strategy rather interesting this weekend. And who better to speak to about it than Fred Varlin? Right. What is the most important thing that or the most important things that you're looking for, working on for free practice one?
Not putting the car in the wall.
Yeah, well, that's a very good start, isn't it?
No, jokes aside, I think now just finding the level of the track, since it's a street circuit, it's really tricky to know where the grip is. So just go out and explore and try to get as much track time as possible.
To what extent are these two Joker laps going to come into play this weekend in terms of strategy and approach?
Yeah, I think it will play a big part this weekend. I really like it. It gets a twist on it. So we just have to explore it a little bit, see how long time the Joker takes now, and then make a plan based on that.
Yeah, you guys did the track walk last night, obviously. I know that historically in touring car there has been the element of one Joker lap. Now the addition of two makes things really quite different, doesn't it? But also that approach into the Joker lap part of the roundabout looks very sharp after that very long, fast downhill.
Yeah, it looks extremely tight, and I mean, if you go over it, you have to do it again. So you cannot afford to make any mistakes in it. So it's just making sure, practicing it now, knowing how much time you lose. But like you say, it's extremely tight. It looks almost tight with a normal car in normal pace. So doing it in race conditions, sitting low, yeah, it will be tricky for the drivers for sure.
Amazing. And how are your boys feeling? Like, we saw some interesting flip of position between Ted and Jan in the last round. Are all eggs going into Santi's basket yet?
We're still respecting the team, and everyone is allowed to push. This is a good track for us. We've always done quite good results here, and everyone really likes the street circuit. And I think it's where you see the level of the drivers, and I think I have a pretty good level of drivers, so I hope to be on the podium, yeah.
Yeah, you most definitely do have that. Thank you, Fred. Have a great weekend. Oh, so we have a little bit of a delay. So in that case, that means we can probably have a chat to a couple of our drivers with any luck. So let's see if we can have a chat to the championship leader himself, Santi Urrutia, and check that he had a good night's sleep before the drama kicks off today. Good morning. I undo this. There's a little delay, Santi, so. Oh. All right. Hello. So what is the most important thing that you need to get out of free practice, Santi?
I mean, you know, as a street circuit, is always you need confidence in the track. So main thing will be to go out, and always I try to go as fast as I can from the beginning, so then I get the confidence. Also, we need to try the Joker lap as many times as we can as well, because then will be very important, especially this year there is two Joker laps. But overall, it's looking good. We've been working with the team, looking on boards. I have done sims, so I'm okay. Just ready for it and to approach FP1.
Good. Have a good one. Sorry. Thank you. This is why I'm not mechanic. All right, so he is, let me check points-wise. I think it's 9 in the end after Valencia. Let's just double-check this before I give you fake news. 182 points Santi Urrutia is on. 176 is Mikel Ascona, who's sitting P2, 6 points off the championship lead. He got pole and race 1 win at the last round. All right, my friend. So here we are. When we spoke yesterday, you were feeling quietly confident this weekend. How are you feeling now as you head out to free practice 1?
Hello, good morning. We are here ready to rock the streets of Villarreal. I feel confident always here. Before Villarreal is a track that I like. Last years I always feel that I can push to the limits very comfortable. So now I will carry a very nice passenger, which is 40 kilos compensation weight. It's going to be more difficult than last year. It means I will need to be closer to the walls. No, yeah, everything is fine. Let's see how we are comparing to the rivals with the weight. And let's see, I think the target will be to be on top 10, no?
When we spoke yesterday, you thought that the weight probably wouldn't come into too much play. You've had some brilliant history around here, haven't you? When you did the track walk yesterday, is there any part in your mind that you know you have to sort of mentally prepare for before you approach it?
Well, basically it's all track. You don't have any specific corner. If I have to say a specific corner, maybe it's the chicane 18, 19, where it's very, you can gain or lose quite a lot of time. You can create also red flags, so it's a corner where you have to be really focused and precise. But during the whole lap, you need to be so close to the walls and so good with the car balance that it is very demanding. It is everything like last year, so nothing changed, and I am confident.
Vamos. Practicing my Portuguese. It's wonderful being here in Portugal. We really enjoy our time at Villarreal. It's a fabulous place. Oh, we could see. Haven't got their doors open. No. Probably time to get cracking with the races. Let's go over this way so we're not in the way, and then we can watch the people as they peel out. As is the nature of street circuit, this is where our pit wall is, our makeshift. All right, my friends, free practice 1. Vamos! Your turn, Paul.
Get ready for drama. It is Villarreal. It is the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour, and this is free practice 1. Ahead of what should be, I very much hope, a rather entertaining weekend of racing indeed. Alex Legui has been down there on pit lane ahead of the session. My name's Paul Jeffrey, up here in the commentary box, and it is my absolute delight and pleasure to welcome you all to the broadcast for what I say should be about 30 minutes of very, very interesting driving indeed. Villarreal is a street circuit that needs absolutely no introduction whatsoever. Second only to Macau in terms of pace, drama and excitement. This is one of the driver tests of the season. Early doors here in Portugal, 21 degrees centigrade, rather pleasant is the air temperature. 26 is track, 64% humidity. Those numbers are only going to rise as the day progresses. It started off quite cold normally in the mornings, gets incredibly warm in the afternoon, and then drops off heavily in the evening. But for the meat of the action today, which will be 2 free practice sessions, and of course our qualifying, blazing sunshine is absolutely on the menu for our drivers. And this is going to be a vital one. It's only free practice, but it's our first contact with the circuit in 2026. For a lot of these drivers, first contact with the circuit full stop. And we have a few names that are coming into the World Tour that are new to our screens. You can see on our screen at the moment, this is the 16 driver entry list. New names, the returning Victor Anderson, no longer with Monlau for this weekend, but actually SP competition, still in a Cupra. Stian Poulsen, the Norwegian driver, a last-minute call-up for Vanin Motorsports in the Audi. Daniel Teixeira, local driver for the JT59 racing team, also will be taking part in an Audi. Jimmy Claret is back, took over from winner Teddy Claret last time out. He's in the Team Claret Sports, but this time also in an Audi. Mikael Karlsson, the Swede for ALM Motorsports, makes his World Tour debut. The 2024 Scandinavian Touring Car Champion, never raced on a street circuit before. And Enzo Gianfratti, back again in the World Tour, very, very last minute, but the SP competition. Cupra driver, the Brazilian, has made a last-minute flight into Portugal and will be taking part in this weekend as well. They're the 16 drivers that will be in the session. Many returning names, of course, from the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour regulars, although unfortunately Jean-Carl Vernet still carrying the injury to his ankle. Won't be back for this one, but hopefully we'll see him again at Ingespidia in October. So there you go, they're the drivers. This is the session. Matthew Castlelonga as well, my apologies. Matthew, the Team Clare Sport, is the 16th driver. Another one of the Audis, popular brand this weekend. 5 Audis, 3 Cupras, 4 Geelys, 2 Hondas and 2 Hyundais make up the 16 cars. As mentioned, some names we know, some names are going to be a little bit unfamiliar. A Clare name isn't unfamiliar. Teddy won last time out in the Clare Sport Run Cupra. Teddy's turn this time, and they've got the venerable Audi back up and running again. Same car in which they finished 2nd and 3rd, Teddy and Jimmy respectively, in the TCR Europe standards in 2025. So they know the car well. The question is, can they thread the needle of the streets of Villarreal? That's the big one, isn't it? It's a very difficult track here, and if you tuned in for our 2 races last week here, didn't miss much. If you haven't watched them, I probably recommend you do so. They're not particularly exciting. So for this season, we have the return of the Joker Lap. This time it will be not 1 but 2 Joker Lap interventions going to happen during the course of the race. We'll talk more about that one a little bit later on. The Joker Lap's changed slightly. There's now quite a tight chicane in there as well. So again, first time our drivers will get an opportunity to experience it, to understand what the time delta looks like and start planning their strategy in terms of how that's going to impact their race. Last time we had a Joker, a couple of seconds or so was the loss. It's going to be significantly larger this time as the full course yellow flags are flying. A little bit of a test in free practice 1, make sure everything's working and fully above board. No problems out on the circuit at this moment in time. In fact, a little bit of a correction I'm getting from my colleague Mr. Neil Hudson. Thank you, Neil. It's not Coulson's World Tour debut. Of course it's not. He raced when we was with TCR Europe in 2023. I should know that one. Of course I should. I was there myself. So, Mikel, sorry. I gave him a little bit of a freebie there, didn't I? A bit of a get-out-of-jail-free card to warm himself up. But Mr. Hudson, always finger on the pulse when it comes to the information. Very quick there for the correction. Thank you very much, sir. Michael Carlson, a bit more pressure on your shoulders now. You're going to be hit the ground running. And it's great, actually, to have him back. He's teaming up with Jensen Brickley, 2-car team for ALM Motorsports this weekend. Jensen, our reigning, of course, TCR Europe champion. Back again, and hopefully for JB, a little bit more fortune goes his way this weekend. Not the Paul Ricard they would have been hoping for. 8th place, his best result just last weekend. Brickley will be hoping a bit more good fortune comes his way again as we're back under green flag conditions again and picking up the 2 BRC Hyundai cars. Mikel Athkona leading Northern Michelitz on track and also in the driver's standing as well. Athkona, great weekend last time around, a P1 and a P4 in the 2 races. That vaults him up into 2nd in the driver's standings. It really is starting to come together for Mikel, isn't it? A lot of racing still to go, of course. This is effectively, near as makes no difference, the halfway mark in the season. 20 rounds. This is round 8 and 9 of the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour. Started in Bazzano, then went to Valencia in June. Paul Ricard just last weekend. Villarreal this weekend. And then time for a bit of a mid-season summer break. Back again in October in Jaspedium. Then it's the big haul to the end of the year. Chengdu in China, Zhujiao, and finishing off in Macau. So they're coming in thick and fast after the break after this one. This is going to be the crucial make or break time of the year for a lot of our drivers. You go into the summer break either riding the crest of a wave or suffering from a little bit of disappointment. And honestly, the difference that makes to the mentality of a sports person is absolutely massive. Going in on a high to the summer break or going in on the back foot really does change the way you approach the second part of your campaign. And I'm sure each and every one of these drivers will be hyper keen to make sure they end the first part of their season on a high at least. There is the Joker Lap that you see being executed by the 2 BRC drivers. You see the blue line on your screen at the roundabout. To the left of the roundabout is the longer Joker version. To the right hand side is the traditional racing line. What is different this year compared to previous? It used to purely be just go around the roundabout and rejoin. Now there's a very tight, twisted, difficult little chicane that has been crafted out before you join the actual roundabout. So that's going to it's going to knock the seconds onto it for sure. And again, 2 jokers have to be served in the race. Joker number 1 between laps 3 and 7, safety car intervention aside. Joker number 2, anytime you wish after the first one has been served. So bit of strategic variance there. It's going to take a little bit longer than it has done previously. I think that should change things quite significantly for our field. Several drivers of whom have never raced in a Joker lap event. Very, very rare in circuit racing. It's going to be fascinating. Well, Jenson Brickley getting well and truly in the way there. No, but Mitchellis didn't enjoy that, did he? Might even have been a little bit contact between the two of them. Sorry, Mikel Azcona, my mistake, not Nobe. Can't see any damage though on the front of the 196, so perhaps it wasn't quite as rude as it looked. Just goes to show, doesn't it? Even in free practice, it is still very, very difficult out there. Drivers will be looking after the car. Absolutely no way they'll be going to be going 110% at this early juncture, at least. A 2 minutes 5 actually pays deference to that one from Santiago Urrutia. Quickest lap of FP1 last season around was a 2 minutes flat. Quickest lap altogether was a 59.5 for Jan Earlishey Q2. So we're a long way away from the pace that we're expecting come qualifying this afternoon. Although it does look like the BRC boys are definitely not hanging about. There's a few locked tyres here, there and everywhere as limits are explored. Azcona currently second quickest overall. As I say that one, Norby then goes fastest. 2 minute 2.7. So the pace is starting to close up a little bit now to where we'd expect it to be. Still about a second and a half, maybe even 2 seconds away from the pace I think everybody's expecting at this moment in time. I dare say that pace is probably going to come from one of these two. Vila Cyan Racing, very, very strong start to their campaign. A little bit of weight being carried by a few drivers. Jan Earlishey carrying 30, Santi Urrutia carrying 10 kilos respectively. BRC squad 40 for Mikel, 20 for Norby. So there we go. You'll see the chicane very briefly there from those drone shots. Free reign, of course, for the drivers in free practice to explore and experiment with that Joker lap layout as much as they wish. It is slower, not quicker, to do the Joker lap, of course. So it is all about learnings at this stage for these drivers. Working out what the best strategy is. You'll have an idea coming into the weekend, of course. You'll do the simulation and whatnot, but absolutely nothing beats the learnings that you make trackside. Almost then coming up to the first 10 minutes of free practice 1 in the books. Norbert Mitchellis is your quickest driver of all. 2 minutes 2.770 for the Hungarian driver. As mentioned, nowhere near the pace that we're expecting at this moment in time, and there is proof positive. Norby fastest of all in sectors 1 and 2. Almost catching the barrier in the background as well. Not hanging about, is he? Car number 105. Norbert Mitchellis on a bit of a qualifying run at this moment in time. He's definitely going to improve his time if sector 3 holds out. Let's have a look. 1.6 quicker in the middle sector. So this is the first real show of pace now from the BRC Hyundai N Squadra Course 18. Following Mikel Azcona. Mikel's far enough down the road though, no problems on this occasion. And there is Norby, a lot of time lost in the middle sector. 2 minutes, 0.777 is the quickest time of the day then so far. Mikel Azcona at 2 minutes, 1.113. So 3.5, just under tenths of a second then covering our top 2 drivers. The pace though is starting to ramp up, isn't it? We're getting much closer to the kind of pace I expected. That's our first look at Victor Anderson, number 10 in the SP competition Cupra. Seems strange, doesn't it, not to see him in the red and black of Monlau Motorsports. But Victor Anderson, TCR Spain winner, TCR Europe title contender, and a triple ETS guest star trophy winner in Valencia. Anderson, absolutely a man on a mission at this moment in time, but can he acclimatise quick enough to the SP competition Cupra? It's a lot of work to do when you're jumping into a squad, especially when Aurelian Comp's your teammate. When you're jumping into a new team quite last minute for Victor Anderson. Takes a fair bit of acclimatising for the Swedish driver. He's doing a decent job so far though, just getting those laps under the books 4 completed so far for Victor. 8th quickest. Manuel Fernandez on home soil is the quickest of our ETS drivers, by the way. 7th overall for the Vadim Motorsports Audi. 7 laps in the books, but again, lap time wise, absolutely not representative yet, realistically, outside of our top 4 or 5 drivers. So we're just blooding ourselves in, finding the lie of the land, so to speak, on this absolutely beautiful 4.785 kilometre, 25 turn Villarreal circuit. Here we pick up then the 2 Geely Cyan Racing Machines. There is Jan Erlechet on the recovery drive, still in 2026. Solid last time out for Jan, a P2 and a P6. That was a healthy hatful of points, wasn't it, for the French driver in Paul Ricard on home soil. Freshly minted as a 30-year-old, Jan Erlechet. Very, very challenging start to his campaign. There we go. Just diving past. Nice bit of space making from Santiago. Erlechet currently 3rd quickest with a 2:01.492. So, okay, there or thereabouts for Geely at this moment in time. They never really show much of their pace, do they, in practice? It's all about following the run plan, making sure everything's okay, making sure the car's in fine fettle and everything's behaving itself ahead of the meaty stuff later on this afternoon. And a reminder, by the way, probably have a few moments, back in action again for FP2, 12:25 local, which is 11:25 UTC, and then qualifying. This is going to be absolutely well and truly critical, ladies and gents. Qualifying will be 15:20 local, which is 14:20 UTC, right here on the TCR TV YouTube channel and on television as well, of course. Make sure you check qualifying out, because that's going to dictate a lot of what people's weekends look like from this point onwards. Reverse grid top 10, obviously, for race number 2 as per usual. But overtakings at a premium. Danger is floating around every corner here at Villarreal. If you're mid-pack, you're absolutely asking to get wrapped up in somebody else's drama. It's going to be so vital this afternoon. But there's a lot of track running before we get there. A lot of time on circuit to learn and discover. And that's exactly what our field are doing. And Nolan Michelis is doing the best job of all so far, discovering the quickest time of everybody. Manuel Fernandez Jr. His 2026 campaign, quite frankly, has all been about this. The racing he's done in the World Tour up to this point for Vadim Motorsports. Preparation for his home event. Racing on home soil, lives in Villarreal, knows these streets like the back of his hand, does Manuel Fernandez. Absolutely lovely chap. He's the 32-year-old Portuguese. Really excited about the prospects of racing home. Made his debut with the World Tour in 2025 here on this track. Crashed the car in qualifying, never had a chance to compete. Well, Fernandez, it's been a lot longer lead in to this event for him. He was in Paul Ricard, he was in Villarreal as well. In fact, started Paul Ricard at a reverse grid pole position. Didn't quite work out for the Portuguese on that occasion, but it's absolutely about building that confidence up. And for Fernandez, he's having a nice clean session so far, up there in 8th position. In fact, make that 9th quickest now, as Victor Anderson just goes fastest of all in the ETS classification. 2:04.6 though. He's still 3.8 seconds away from Nolan Michelis with the overall quickest time. But yep, going back to Manuel Fernandez, big weekend on home soil, friends and family here, and so far he's doing a stout job in that Vadim Motorsports Audi, well inside the top 10. But again, just to remind you all, this is only opening pre-practice. There is a lot of track time between now and when we get into the real spicy stuff of race day tomorrow. Behind you then is another view of the Joe Collapse chicanes. We pick up Enzo Gianfratti, another driver we're used to seeing in a Cupra, but not an SP competition one. Brazilian driver, very late addition to the field. Flew in yesterday from Brazil, funnily enough. Didn't even make the driver's briefing, did Enzo Gianfratti. But the Brazilian, he knows how to pedal a car, doesn't he, quite quickly. I'm sure he'll be absolutely fine racing. TCR South America, currently 6th in the standings, with a couple of podium positions to his name. No stranger to the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour. Gianfratti will be hoping for. It's like everything, isn't it? Your phone rings, you're at home. Want to come and race one of the best street circuits in the world in a touring car? Yes, please. Where's my flight? That's exactly how it went for Enzo Gianfratti. It's been a whirlwind, but he's here and he's on track now as the Brazilian. And so far, doing a decent job. Let's have a look. 12th position in terms of the times, but what's the 6 laps completed? 2 minutes 6.7. So 6 seconds away from the pace. Not representative for Gianfratti, of course. Just feeling himself into the weekend, nice and gently so far. This one's a little bit quicker, personal fastest, sector 1 second away from the pace set by Norbert Michelis at this moment in time. He'll not be worried though. Get the car home nice and clean, learn as much as you can, get some miles under your wheels. That's all what this opening practice session's about. Personal fastest, sector 2, 2.7 seconds away from the pace for Enzo Gianfratti. You can tell by the body language of the car, it's just about taking it around the track, isn't it? Learning the circuit, getting used to the conditions, putting on a show, and getting ready for qualifying. Gianfratti then into the final few corners, well away from the wall, plenty of safety net between himself and the unforgiving barriers. There's a yellow flag, Marshall points 28, so somebody's been in strife. Why oh why do we have that one? Hopefully the wide shot will reveal the cause of this yellow flag. Enzo Gianfratti, by the way, does complete his lap and moves up into 9th position. 4.5 seconds away though from the pace for Gianfratti. So again, his reacclimatisation continues. By the way, looking at the times, 1.3 seconds cover our top 5. That's roughly where I'd expect it to be at this juncture. 2.8 if you count Rally and Compt in 6th position, and the times drop off massively. 3.4 for Victor Anderson, 4.2 for Manuel Fernandez. Mikael Carlsen is the reason the yellow flags wave. Mikael Carlsen is the reason they can be rescinded as he gets back on track. Good stuff from the ALM Motorsport driver. A little bit relieving not to have a red flag. The drivers need as much time as they can. So what went wrong then for Carlsen? Oh, wrong track, wrong layout. Missed the corner completely. Hopefully that's more a mechanical than a driver error there for Carlsen. Either. Well and truly off the racetrack is the Swedish driver. Currently 12th quickest is Mikael, 5.7 away from the pace, but with 7 crucially laps under his belt. So plenty of time. Pace is a little bit distant, isn't it, folks, at this moment in time from our field. You can tell we're on a difficult street track. Wind yourself up slowly but surely. Nothing can be won by parking in the barriers. There is the slow-moving Honda then, out of the way, allows Jan Erleschee and Jensen Brickley to find their way through. Erleschee then, 3rd quickest driver, currently out on the racetrack at this moment in time. Car number 168 leading the Cyan GD Racing Charge as things stand. Jensen Brickley keeping a watching brief in the wheel tracks. Seeing what he can learn from our reigning champion, former World Touring Car champion Jan Erleschee, of course. Highly decorated is Jan. One of the pound-for-pound best touring car drivers, any class, anywhere in the world, is Jan Erleschee. It's making it look rather easy at this moment in time on the streets of Villarreal, threading the proverbial needle at pace in free practice 1. Love them or loathe them, one thing is for sure, a street track shows a touring car in its absolute best light, doesn't it? Really incredible to see these cars winging their way through the Armco. He's got a good view, hasn't he, that chap on his balcony? Coffee got out well there, methinks. Having a look down at Jan Erleschee. Jensen Brickley still following through. Jan quick here, 3rd quickest at this moment in time, 7 tenths away from the pace, 2 minute 492, sorry. Is the time on the books for the French driver. Jensen Brickley seeing what he could do, 2 minute 5.592 for JB. Brickley down there in 10th position so far. Again, free practice 1, not too concerned about the lap times. It's all about the knowledge that you can pick up from this racetrack. Jan Erleschee is picking knowledge up at a faster rate, it seems, than those behind, starting to leave Jensen Brickley for dust, isn't he? Jan absolutely on a flyer. Look how vital the car is underneath. Erleschee corrected it on the brakes. just threading it between these Armco barriers, millimetre precise away from the wall. Wow, this is a good lap from Jan Erlichey, isn't it? Absolutely flying is the French driver. Qualification run for him, it seems. Ted Bjork, personal fastest, only 14th quickest for the Swedish driver. He's got work to do, Ted, down there in 14th so far. Jenson Brickley absolutely not on it like Erlichey. Look at that one, almost into the barriers, quickest of all through sector 1 for Jan Erlichey. Absolutely flying is the French driver. Again, this is only free practice, but it's crucial knowledge ahead of qualifying. These drivers want to leave absolutely nothing on the table. Qualifying is going to be the vital point of this weekend. Can Jan Erlichey, though, will he continue this push lap? I don't think he will. I think he's going to start winding it down towards the end. So far, it's looking mighty quick. Personal fastest in sector 2 as well for Erlichey. So he's going to discover everything he needs, I think. Very aggressive through the chicane. Oh, I do love a touring car on 2 wheels. It does look good, I must say. And Jan Erlichey absolutely finding speed then. So that's the first signal of intent from Geely Scion Racing. Their cars are quick, even with the 30 kilos of compensation weight on board. Jan Erlichey looks rather quick indeed. Not going to be a gratifying sight, that one, is it? For the World Tour field. Over the line Jan goes then. A little bit slower in the final sector. I'm sure that was more by design than anything else. Second quickest then for Jan Erlichey. 2 minutes 1.069. Remember the time to beat from Q2 last season? 1:59.549. So we're still a little bit away yet from the ultimate pace. But Erlichey, signal of intent. Geely Scion Racing, just as quick with the preface as they were at Lincoln Co last time. Matthew Casalonga then, doing good work in the Team Clare Sport Audi to get out of the way. Casalonga 15th quickest so far. Long way away from the pace. Unable yet to get a time in, unlike Santiago Urrutia off camera, was going quickly as well. So Geely now decided to stretch their legs a little bit in this free practice session. And all of the signs, even if the timing screens don't suggest it, all of the signs tell me that is a very rapid car indeed around the streets of Villarreal. With just over 6 minutes then left on the clock in this opening free practice session ahead of round 8 and 9 of the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour. Fastest driver of all is Norbert Michelitz in the BRC Hyundai N Squadra Corse machine at 2 minutes 0.777, gives him just under 0.3 of a second from Jan Erlichey. Third position, Mikel Azcona, although both drivers in pit lane at the moment suggest that BRC are looking very strong in this opening run. In Santiago Urrutia and Marcin Kvar keep the Geely Scion Racing crew on their tippy toes. 4th and 5th, Ted Bjork rounding out the top 6 to make it 4 Geelys in the top 6. Aurelien Comte, as per usual, sets himself up as best of the rest, currently 7th quickest, ahead of fastest of the ETS guest star trophy runners Victor Anderson on an outlap in 8th. Manuel Fernandez on home soil is currently 9th quickest, and then Enzo Gianfrate 4.5 seconds away from the pace, rounds out the current top 10 in this opening session. 5.5 minutes left on the clock, and a few drivers, that was close to the barriers then, wasn't it? As a few drivers now are starting to find a little bit more speed on the racetrack, and in Santiago Urrutia's case, almost catching the barriers as well as the Uruguayan driver on a big push lap. Quickest of all, sector 1, personal fastest, sector 2. Expect the Uruguayan driver to wind it down a little bit through the final sector. You don't want to go too quickly too soon for Santiago Urrutia. Absolutely on his tippy toes. There we go. To the final sector, a little bit slower again. Still a personal fastest. Good enough for second quickest for Santi. Just a couple of hundredths of a second, 300ths of a second to be precise, between himself and Norbert Michelitz at the head of the pack. As Ted Bjork, does he improve as well? Ted currently in 6th quickest. He does improve, but still 2 seconds away from the ultimate pace. Well. Who's in trouble then in the early stages? Stian Paulsen hasn't got a good time on the board despite the 10 laps in his books, nearly 8 seconds away for Stian. Currently down there in 14th. Jimmy Claret, also 10 laps in his books, but 5.4 away is Jimmy in 12th. That's not the pace we expect the French driver to be showing. There'll be work to do there. Same with Jenson Brickley, also in strife. Jenson's now in 12th position. Actually, there's been a change a little bit further up. Brickley, though, 11 laps in the books, 4.8 seconds away from the pace. Not what we expect from Champ, our reigning TCR Europe champion. Again, all about learnings, discovering the car, discovering the setup, finding the balance, and crucially, strange as this might sound, as a driver, just building your confidence to navigate your way around the track, to skirt so close to the Armco barriers. That's what free practice is all about. There we go, a little bit of a check down the Joker lap. Vital to make sure you get that one nailed as well. There's time to be won or lost in the Joker lap. Aggressive into that chicane can maybe win you a couple of attempts, maybe cause you a bit of a headache as well. There is the Joker lap to the left-hand side. The BRC Hyundai does not go down it, but there the Audi does, and you can see the deficit, can't you? Look at the Audi. Look at the gap between himself and Mikel Azcona. That is a lot of time loss through the Joker lap chicane. I'll study the times and have a chat at the end of the session to try and work out, broadly speaking, what the time delta looks like. But I'd say in and around four or so seconds, maybe even as far as 5 seconds, it looks like at this early stage. Strategy will be fun, will it not, tomorrow? Oh, looking forward to that one. That's tomorrow's problem, though. Today we've still got the small matter and another free practice at the end of this one, and qualification as well. Currently, Norbert Michelis, quickest driver from Santiago Arrutia. Jan Ellershey, Mikel Azcona. Big surprises. Victor Anderson up there in 8th place is not really a surprise, I would say. But the SP competition cars are separated by around 1/10 of a second. So those Cupras are very much at the limit of what they're capable of. Honda not looking great at the moment. Brickley in 9th place, but 3.9 away. And Geely Scion Racing trying their best to pretend they're disappointed with the performance when they know they've got a rocket ship underneath them. Jan Ellershey trying his best through Sector 1 and doing a great job. Backs off in Sector 2, keeping his powder dry as the Frenchman. And trust me, it might not be a Geely Scion Racing at the top of the timesheets. One of the quickest guys on the racetrack, though, it seems like, to my eye at least, in this opening free practice session. There's Ellershey just having a quick test of the Joker lap. That was a bit spicy, wasn't it, where the Joker rejoins the racetrack from Victor Anderson. That could be fun come race time. Oh well, I'm sure these boys are professionals, they know how to deal with that one, but fun and games could be had as Paul has a look on with his laptop. Don't look too closely at that one in case there's important naughty things on there that help that car go faster. He's doing a good job, isn't it, though, with Norbert Michelis behind the wheel. Quickest then for car number 105. We're into the sunset of this opening practice session. 1 minute left on the clock. Norbert Michelis is the quickest driver of all. A 2 minutes .777 is the quickest time. Santiago Arrutia snuck up in a second place right at the very death. Uruguayan driver just a couple of hundredths of a second away from the ultimate pace, but it is Norby at the head of the pack for now. There is the 105 right on cue. Has a little bit of traffic. He'll not be too worried about that one, though. Times mean absolutely nothing in free practice. It's all about what you can learn. It's all about keeping the car clean. Keeping it out of the barriers is absolutely vital on a street track such as this one. Getting the laps in, understanding where you're at. Daniel Teixeira, by the way, is slowest of all. Doesn't have a time. That suggests to me that a transponder issue or the Hyundai Elantra N TCR hasn't gone out on the racetrack. We'll find out about that one. With Teixeira, hopefully at the end of the session. By the way, tune in to the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour website and social media channels for the news, the background and the insight behind all of these sessions. Hopefully we'll find out what happened to the 59 of Teixeira and share it with you on there, so make sure you do tune into that one. We're growing our channels, lots of exciting things happening, so part of that revolution nice and early. You'll be able to say I was one of the first. As we continue to grow these channels, the session continues to grow and it's grown to its conclusion. Checkered flag waves then here in Villarreal to draw time to the end of free practice 1. There's still a few cars on the track, but I'm relatively confident, relatively safe to say, Norbert Michelitz is going to be the fastest driver of all at the end of the opening practice session. 2 minutes then, 0.777 is the time on the boards from our Hungarian. 2 minutes, 0.256 was the equivalent fastest time for Jan Erlichey last season. So already we're a little bit behind on pace. We're still very much on point. It's a different car though at the head of the pack. It's not a blue one. It's a Norbert Michelitz looking BRC Hyundai and Squadra Corse machine. That is our fastest driver from Santiago Urrutia, Jan Erlichey, rounding out the top 3 drivers. Big winners, big losers from this one. Victor Anderson looks quick in the SP competition. Cupra, Enzo Gianfrate having no jet lag. Decent time in 12th position. Stian Poulsen, Matthew Casalong and Daniel Teixeira are in trouble. Very far away from the pace, down there in 14th, 15th and 16th positions respectively. It's free practice. You brought the car home in one piece. No one's parked it in the barriers. That's what we call a success in a session like this one. And then squirrel away on the laptop, have a little think, and in about 2 hours and 23 minutes, come back and do it all over again. Sounds like a plan, doesn't it? The heat is on here in Villarreal. It's only going to get warmer, it's only going to get more difficult, and it's only going to get more intense as we build up to that qualification session, which will be taking place 15:20 local time, which is 14:20 UTC Universal Time. Of course, right here on the TCR TV YouTube channel, on DAZN, on TNT Sports, and a whole load of other different channels all around the world. They were watching Jimmy Claret then in the Team Claret Sport Audi, slowly bringing that car back down to pit lane. The session is officially over. Checkered flag has waved. Everybody who's due to set a lap has already set their one, and they're either making their way back to pit lane or already in pit lane, doing the dissecting, analysing and preparing ahead of free practice 2. Again, to clarify, Norbert Michelitz is the quickest of all. Santiago Urrutia, Jan Erlichey making the Geely Scion Racing 2-3 in that session. Looking good for BRC Hyundai and Squadra Corse, isn't it? Fastest and 4th quickest for Norby and Mikel Azcona respectively. A healthy 3.3 tenths of a second covering our top 4 drivers. So it's looking good there. Marcin Kvar, Ted Bjork keeping up the end for Geely Scion Racing as well, 5th and 6th place. So they're looking like they should be rapid. And once again, it's Cupra and SP competition that are the main challengers. Practice starts, because it's free practice, of course, are allowed. Audi and Geely side by side on that occasion. How much is petrol over here? Have a look at the background. Damn sight cheaper in the UK than the UK, I'll tell you that for free. As we line up again, let our drivers just get an opportunity to understand where the car is, to understand where the biting point is. Practice learning, ready for race 1, which will be absolutely vital, of course. And while everybody's doing their practice starts, I hear in my ears that our intrepid Alex Legui has found BRC Hyundai Squadra Corse's Gabriele Rizzo. So let's head down the pit lane and see what Gabriele has to say.
Gabriele. Right, strong start to the weekend, despite what looked like a drive shaft issue there for Norby. Is that right?
Yes, that's right. We were using, let me say, used parts for every part. We will put new for quali and race, but obviously it's a critical track for that, so the drivers are pushing, let me say, finding the limit also on the curbs riding, so we are confident that we can manage along the weekend.
Your mechanics are used to working at lightning speed after Paul Ricard as well, aren't they? So what did you learn most from free practice 1? Did you get out of it what you needed?
Yeah, we practice a lot to the Joker Lab because it will be a key of the event. This year we have 2 instead of last year none in the past 1. So that's a bit of more strategy, and obviously to be quick also in the execution of these 2 or 3 seconds longer path on the circuit is a key element for the race.
Good. All right, let's see how we get on. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much, Alex, down there with Gabriele Rizzo of the BRC Hyundai N Squadra Corse team. And as Gabriele mentions, a good start for the team. this weekend. First and fourth quickest in free practice. Crucially, both cars come home clean. And as Gabriele mentioned, crucial will be the Joker lap. 2 times that'll be taken in the race. Plenty of time for us to speak about that one over the course of the weekend. Let's have a look then. Confirmation as they cross the line. These are the times for free practice 1. Norbert Michelitz, Santiago Arrutia, Jan Erlische are the top 3. Mikel Ascona, Marcin Hua and Ted Bjork, top 6. Aurelian Comte, good job with a new teammate, Victor Anderson, alongside this weekend, 7th and 8th. Those Cupras, dare I say it, the dark horses once again. Jensen Brickley, Jimmy Clary rounding out the top 10. Jimmy back in the Team Clary Sport Audi once again and back behind the wheel. Last time we saw him was in Valencia as teammate Teddy took over and won at Paul Ricard last time around. Manuel Fernandez on home soil is 11th, Enzo Gianfranti in 12th, Mikael Karlsson 13th, despite the dramas we saw on stack. Stian Paulsen, Matthew Catalonia and Daniel Teixeira round out the 16 finishers. OK then, that's free practice 1 over and done with. We're back again for FP2, 12:25 local, 11:25 UTC. Make sure you tune into that one, same channels as you've been on today. And all I need to do now is, from me, Paul Jeffrey, from Alex Le Gui, thanks for watching. Let's have a look at some highlights and see you next time.